Me and my wife were fortunate enough to have our own kids, a boy and a girl. And I thought, that's it. I thought, got the set. My wife said, oh no, there are more kids in this family. So we went on this bit of a journey, and then started, or rather my wife started considering fostering or adopting.
So Joe and I were married for about 5 years before we really started to seriously think about starting a family. And then for the next 4 or 5 years, we were trying to start a family, and it just wasn't happening. And there was nothing that we could understand as to why that would be. We went for the tests. There was nothing wrong with us at all, either of us. And then we started to resurrect that conversation about, well, do you remember when we talked about adoption? Is this the moment? Do we start looking to adopt?
Liz suggested the idea of fostering at a time when our children were beginning to leave home, but when the initial suggestion was made, I was horrified at the thought of it. I then discovered that you can say no to God, you can say no to your wife, but you can't say no to them both together. That's impossible. And I realised that actually what God was calling us to do was the right thing to do, and so reluctantly said yes to fostering.
So to cut a long story short, we started fostering, and it can be stressful, and it comes at a cost. I think there's an even greater cost to a child that doesn't get looked after, that doesn't get parented, that doesn't have that mother, and I think importantly a father figure too.
Yeah, we've been now foster carers for I think it's 11 years, and for me a lot of it is seeing children who've, personally I look at it and say they've had bad fathers, or they haven't been fathered. And that breaks my heart, because I look at it as a Christian and say, actually all children should have the best parents they can have in the world, because we've got the best Father God.
So having initially really made the decision that I would not contemplate Down syndrome, I was then faced with the prospect of adopting a child who had a syndrome very, very similar to that. Rubinstein-Tavy syndrome is incredibly similar in many ways to Down syndrome. And I was faced with a decision at that point. Do I hold on to the fact that I'm not going to contemplate that and walk away from this very real child who needs and deserves a home as much as any other child? Or would I lay that down, and would I say the child is more important? And I found myself in a situation where that was the not on my watch moment. That was the point when I said, I will not walk away from this. I will not make a decision that he can't come into my home because he has something about him that I don't like. I couldn't go there. I would not be able to live with myself having walked away from this child.
So the idea of not on my watch, I think rings very true with how I've approached fostering. Like I said, it's not easy, and there are often times I think, I'd much rather not do this. I'd much rather put my feet up or have that space to myself. But then I couldn't allow myself to do that, because I'd be giving up that cost just for a bit of comfort, whereas the cost to a child, to a fatherless child, would be even greater.
When a child comes into your care, for us, they come as babies most of the time. Quite often our children, we pick them up from hospital, and they get under your skin very quickly. So there is a big emotional cost. And I would just want to challenge men to say, actually, step up to the plate and take the risk, because there's no guarantees. And it's just a case of wanting to be the best father you can be to a child who desperately needs a good father at that time.
There are times when I sit back and I think, this cost an awful lot. But what I do know is it didn't cost me anywhere near as much as it cost Jesus. And when he came and he gave his life to meet my need, he gave his life so that I could be his son. I could be a child of God. I could have a hopeful future where my future didn't have any hope apart from him. And so as much as I love the fact that I am now a dad and Kieran is my son, I'm intensely proud of him. I also realise that God is also my father, and he is intensely proud of me, but he paid an incredibly higher price for me to become his son than I ever paid to become the father of Kieran.